I've been a CPA since 1974, so I'm coming up on 40 years. I graduated from Ole Miss back in '73, went and worked for Touche Ross, that's now Deloitte Touche, in Memphis for 5 years. Became certified roughly a year after I started work with Touche. I traveled too much. I loved public accounting. I thought for sure I would be a partner, but I traveled 80% of the time. Being in Memphis, we covered Nashville, Little Rock, St. Louis, Baton Rouge, you name it, Morgan City, Louisiana, Yazoo City, Mississippi, a lot of little towns. So in '77, I was still single. I decided I'm going to go to grad school. And I went to Michigan, and it was freezing. I went to the University of Illinois. It was almost as cold. I came to Austin in November and found the administration building, and it was warm. All the young women were running around with shorts and t-shirts, and everybody saying, "Hi!" And I found the accounting department, and I thought, this is it. So at any rate, I got my master's, my MPA from UT, and then worked to my PhD for 4 years. But really I decided you should do one or the other, either be in practice as a public accountant or do academics. And I decided I wanted to be in public accounting. So I went back in partnership with a local CPA, and I've never looked back. While I was at UT, though, I taught for 77 through 82. They asked me to come back to be a senior lecturer and to teach audit. And so I did that for another 12 years on campus, just teaching the audit part, Audit 1, the intro course. I started teaching Becker in 1981, which is 33 years. Tony in the back and I were visiting. Tony and I figured out he took Becker, I think, in 92 or 93. And back in those days, the books were tear-apart paper books. The lecture was delivered. It was on reel-to-reel tape machine with the biggest overhead projector you've ever seen. It was almost like hazardous duty working the transparencies on that gigantic projector. From there, we've progressed now. It's all computer-based. And you put it on your laptop. And one of the benefits, what Donna Hiller was talking about, there are two main reasons the state board has identified as reasons for failure. One is time management, and the other one is unfamiliarity with software, which she briefly touched on. One of the benefits of Becker is our software works exactly like the software at the testing site. And every part of the course, we give you 2 final exams that are timed. And it's just like sitting at a computer at the Prometric testing site. So when you go in to do your actual exam, you know exactly how the software functions. Why become a CPA? The main reason you become a professional. Professions are determined by you master a body of knowledge, you take a certification exam, you adhere to a code of ethics, you commit to taking continuing education, and you join professional associations like the AICPA and the Texas Society of CPAs. If you look at all the professions, architects, dentists, physicians, attorneys, CPAs, we all have that in common. We are all professionals. We all meet those criteria. It makes a huge difference in your, I think Donna touched on it, in your mentality of how you think about yourself and how others perceive you. I didn't really appreciate passing the exam that much until it came time to go into partnership with another CPA and practice before the public. I had the credential, so I could do that. If I had not passed the exam right out of college, way back, then I would not have had the ability to jump right in and do what I do. Now I'm a sole practitioner CPA, and I have been for the last 10 years. Instead of having a staff, I decided I could actually better manage my time and my profitability by being just myself. My friend Doug Neal calls me a country accountant because I go to my clients and I hang out. And my clients, by and large, are all closely held businesses that are all profitable. They appreciate what I do for them. At various clients, I do different things. Some of them I do IT work. I'm responsible for a couple of systems, the networks, keeping them up and running. I do monthly financial statements. I do corporate tax, partnership tax, individual tax, a little bit of estate planning. All that, all those services kind of rolled into one. I've been hiding out, doing taxes, and I've missed my clients the last month. So I think tomorrow what I'm going to do is go around and visit everybody. Some of my clients are up across Bakery on 45th and Vernon. I love going there. I was there a month ago and we had an accident. I was with the owner, Stephanie, in the office, and one of the bakers came in and said, "We've had an accident." She said, "What now?" They said, "Well, we dropped a chocolate decadence cake on the counter and it broke into pieces." She said, "Well, bring it in." And so they brought it in, and everybody in the office got their fork out and their plate. We had to eat cake. And Stephanie says, "We eat our mistakes." Building on what Donna was talking about earlier, you see here, according to the AI CPA, 75% of today's CPAs will retire in the next 15 years. There are a ton of people in my age group and a few years younger that are moving on. And we're going to retire, and we need people to come in and take our place. And so there's just huge opportunity. Everyone here, and that's what I want to talk to you personally about, is not to be intimidated by the CPA exam. I always prided myself on being an accounting major. I always thought that we were kind of a cut above other business majors. Maybe the finance people were quantitatively on maybe the same level, but it's like, I always felt that as an accounting major, we had to know everything. We had to know about marketing, we had to know about corporate finance, just everything within the business school we needed to know about. You guys are survivors. When you're an accounting major, honestly, you get weeded out. You make it through introductory accounting, you make it through intermediate, through advanced. If you graduate as an accounting major, believe me, you've got what it takes to pass the CPA exam. And everyone in this room can do that. You just have to commit yourself to do it. And that's really what I'm here to talk about, is what that commitment entails. How you go about passing the exam, what your strategy is. Why do you take a structured CPA review course? A couple of major reasons. One is your coursework is spread out over several years, and so by the time you might sit for the exam, what was current in intermediate 2 years ago might have changed. There might be new FASB pronouncements. The world has changed. There are also topics on the exam that are just not covered in a college course. College courses cannot cover everything. And I've got a little list of topics like that. For example, in audit, a lot of times audit courses don't spend a lot of time on test engagements and prospective financial statements, which are projected financial statements, forecasts, and projections. And you can go right down the list. And so we've got to fill in the gaps. The other major reason is knowing what to study and how much depth to go into. It's real easy studying on your own to go down the wrong path and get into way too much detail. For example, when you get into consolidations and business acquisitions, on the exam they ask very few questions about non-controlling interest. It's very basic stuff, but in intermediate or advanced, we really hit that hard, and you get all the little ins and outs of non-controlling interest. So if you're studying on your own for the exam, you could easily spend way too many hours on a little topic that's never going to show up. When I first started teaching Becker years and years ago, I thought, we are leaving out too much. There is so much that we're not teaching. But then it dawned on me that the purpose of the course was to specifically cover what they do test on and to do a good job of that. And so that makes it more efficient. But let's talk about the exam structure. For example, financial and audit. Both have 3 sets of multiple choice questions, they're called testlets, and then one group of 7 task-based simulations. Regulation, 3 sets of 24 multiple choice, and then 6 task-based simulations. Business, 3 sets of multiple choice, and all the written communications are now in the business part of the exam. But here we go, for financial, these are the topics that show up. Specific accounting transactions, financial statement accounts, governmental, not-for-profit, concepts and standards. Notice that governmental and not-for-profit can be as much as 16 to 24% of the exam. And a lot of times students might have had 1 course in governmental. A lot of times we get students who have 0 courses in governmental. And so that's a big gap to fill. Now, the Becker course in financial is 10 4-hour lectures. Whether you come to a live class with me, our awesome instructors, or whether you do self-study and you watch the video on your own, or we also have what's called an online version. But really online is just like self-study, but we assign you an instructor who gets to know you, and their purpose is to nag you and to notice when you're behind to get you back on track. Well, anyhow, either way you do it, there's 10 4-hour lectures, and each lecture has homework, multiple choice and simulations. To do the homework and then to do continuing review as you go takes 6 hours for each of those 10 classes. That's another 60 hours. 40 plus 60, we're up to 100. Then to do a good final review just before sitting, another 20 hours, 20 to 30. So financial, 120 to 130 hours, and that's minimum, okay?
I did more.
Yeah, a little more. For business and for audit, 80 hours minimum. For regulation, 90 to 100 again. The way we do it at Becker is luckily now you get to focus on one part at a time. And you take that one part and then start focusing on another part. The way you stagger that is, let's say you do financial first, which a lot of people do. Then between the last class and sitting for the exam, you need to allow 3 weeks for that final review, to go back through all the homework, to really make sure that you know it. Then you go sit for financial, then you can start audit. After audit and the business parts of the exam, 2 weeks is enough to review audit and business. But regulation is like financial. You need to allow 3 weeks to do your final review. And so that's where the commitment comes in, or spending that many hours, really away from your family, your loved ones. They have to be, on board with you, because that commitment is there. For the 18 months to 2 years that it takes to pass the exam, life does not go on as usual. Frequently, you're going to be working, family commitments. You're not going to have a lot of free time. If you're a golf fan, you'll be taping, or DVRing the Masters tournament and watching it several months later. Any questions, about the exam? What does it cost to take Becker? People ask me that. Tony helped me in the back. Now it's like $3,300 to take Becker. One thing you should do, absolutely, is visit that website that Donna Hiller gave you, AICPA.org. I've got that same website right here. When you go to it, there's a little icon, CPA exam, and if you click on that, there's a little sub-menu that has like 5 or 6 good content items. You'll find that same candidate bulletin right there too, which tells you all about it. There's more information on how they score the exam there at that website. The other good website to go to, and I don't have it on the screen, is the Texas Society of CPAs. which is tscpa.org.
Oh, good.
T is in Texas, scpa.org.
Texas Society of CPA.
Texas Society of Certified Public Accountants. And we've got a